Hamilton. I'm drinking out of my Hamilton mug this morning, which I got at the Arsht Center here in Miami. Would not recommend that you come here now. I saw on a coronavirus map that they have actually created for Miami-Dade County. Instead of having red being, like super infectious, they've created a dark red, which means, like really, really infectious. So stay away from us. Stay away from our city. And it's not surprising to me, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Because in the song that we referred to yesterday, that is sung by Leslie Odom Jr. and is written, of course, by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and yes, that is my bald pate, which I have superimposed over Lin-Manuel Miranda's very handsome head, just to keep this cheesy theme going of me being in Hamilton. That is me, and that is the actor. I don't know who that is who plays General George Washington, but he is phenomenal. He's very powerful on stage, and we're going to show you some more images of him in days to come. Anyway, in the song that we listened to yesterday, which is titled Wait For It, which I highly recommend. It's a beautiful song. It's a love song. It's a song of angst, but also compassionate understanding for oneself, and more importantly, a global understanding that if you want something, you're going to have to wait for it. I think it was Ben Franklin who said we can have anything we want as long as we're willing to wait for it. And I wanted to bring this up right now because two things. Number one, there was a part of the song yesterday that I wanted to talk about, and the opening of the chorus goes, "I am the one thing in life I can control." Holy God, has there ever been a moment in our lives and in our history and in our world when we need to remember that we are the one thing in life we can control? We are having things that we do not like dictated to us on both sides, on all sides. I don't want to say there's two sides. I want to say on all sides. We are having things that we do not like dictated to us. And ultimately, we are the ones that have to make the life decisions for ourselves by getting the very best information that we can for ourselves. I'm doing a speech at my Toastmasters Club tonight. I invite you to do something, and that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Is every day go to Fox News and go to CNN and search certain keywords. Just hit Command F or Control F and search for COVID-19, coronavirus, protesters and rioters, and just see how things are contextualized. And when you understand that a lot of people only get their news from one source or another, no, almost everyone gets their news simply because looking at news that doesn't agree with their confirmation bias upsets us. It does for all of us. Check that out and see if you can understand why it's difficult right now for us to feel in control at all. We feel totally out of control. And not only that, we are understandably impatient. And that's what I want to talk about today. In the song, Leslie Odom Jr. sings, "I am willing to wait for it." I don't know about you, but I'm reaching a point where I'm no longer willing to wait for it. And I think the same is true for everybody. Can I get an amen? When this all looked like, holy cow, you mean the county, the state, the city, the country, the world was going to shut down for a period of time, and that came out in March pretty much. And we all were pretty sure that by July, everything would be okay. And here we are, closing in on August, and virus cases are going up, like this. We're getting more afraid. And what are we waiting for? We're waiting for a vaccine that we know that works. We're waiting for consistent leadership that tells us what we should and should not do. And again, that is on all sides. We are waiting to be able to go back out and be with our friends and family. We are waiting to get out and hug our children. We are waiting to get out and go to social activities. I am certain that the first time I am allowed to go into a movie theater and smell popcorn, I will probably tear up. I am waiting for that. I am waiting to be able to get on a plane and go and travel. I am waiting, just like you, to be able to know that my economic future is not in doubt. We are waiting, we are waiting, we are waiting. And it's difficult. And during that time, while we're waiting, we're staying inside. We're not getting the healing sunshine that we would normally get, even in just going out and getting into our cars and just through the windshield as we're driving to work. We're staying inside. We feel closed up. We feel unsafe. We're waiting. And things just seem to be getting worse. I remember one time I had a horse named Joby. My family and I did. He was a wonderful quarter horse. His name is Joby. Was Joby. He's passed. It was many years ago. But one night Joby started lying down in the evening and leaning over and nipping at his side. And we knew that sign. That meant that he was starting to colic. Now, colic is not unusual for horses, especially in Missouri, because there's a lot of sand in the dirt and the horses are going along and chewing the grass all the way down to the roots. And as they're doing this, they're ingesting sand. Now, the sand goes through their system, and when it hits their intestines, sometimes because it's so dense and heavy as it's making a turn, it can actually twist the colon. And it's deadly if it's not treated. So we called the vet. We waited. Here's wait for it. And we waited, and we called the vet at about 3 a.m, and it was 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And the guy showed up. And I remember this vet. I don't remember his name, probably in his early 30s, and I was in my mid-40s, late 40s. Anyway, I just remember him being, to me, a young man showing up. And I'd met him before. But he came out and we tied Joby up. We were able to get Joby to stand up, and we hitched him up. And then he put a long tube down the horse's throat, nose rather, and he pumped like a gallon of mineral oil down his nose. Then he donned a rubber glove that went all the way up to his shoulder, all the way up to his shoulder. And he proceeded to reach up inside the horse and loosen the intestines and the colon so that everything would then come spilling out onto the ground. As he did this, now remember this story, it's taking place at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. I have woken this man out of his bed with his wife. He has left his children. He has gotten in his truck. He has driven over there and spent the better part of an hour sticking his hands up inside of a horse, and never once did a smile leave this man's face. And when he finished, and he gave us a bill and we paid it, which was a lot less than I would have charged for doing something like that, I said to him, I can't believe how you're willing to get up in the middle of the night and come do such a disgusting act and always be in such a good mood. And he said, years ago when I got my very first call like this, I remember it. And I remember driving to it, and I remember thinking, damn, I don't want to do this. Damn, this is nasty. I wish I was still in bed. It's freezing cold here in Missouri. Yada, 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 yada. And he said, I made a decision to remind myself that I chose to get into veterinary medicine, to serve people and to serve animals. And so whenever I was given the opportunity to serve, I would do it in a good mood. Take that in for a second. This man made a decision that come what may, he was going to be in a good mood. And that's the point. It was a decision that he made, and he continued to live it out. My mother used to always tell me, patience is indeed a good virtue, with a heavy note of sarcasm. She would say that. Why? Because I suck at patience. How about you? Do you suck at patience? Are you starting to really suck at patience right now? Then let me give you a definition of patience that hopefully will be helpful. Patience isn't just waiting. Patience is waiting in a good mood. Just like that vet decided he was going to be in a good mood, decide you are going to be in a good mood as we wait. And as we wait. And how do we do that? We don't speak to people and talk about, ain't it awful, ain't it awful. I'm as guilty as anybody. And you know what? I realize that the people around me, I am as responsible for their mood as I am for my own. And the one thing in life I can control is me. So, realize that if you're starting to feel frustrated, anxious, angry, when's it all going to be over, etc., as we laid out a few moments ago, or as I did, that your greatest weapon, I just want you to get this. Your greatest weapon in this pandemic is you. What you do with your mind. Get outside. Get outside. You can get outside away from people. Mask up and try and wear your mask. I wear my mask if I'm inside of 20 feet of people. And if they are not wearing a mask, I simply stay the hell away from them. But get outside and realize this is a long haul. That's part of the problem. We thought it was going to be over quick. So now we've moved the goalpost back, another 90 days? I can tell you that's true for my speaking clients. All my July events have been pushed back to September and October. And this morning, Alphabet, the parent company of Google, announced that all of its employees would be working from home for the next year, 12 months, at least through July of 2020. Perhaps if we take a longer-term view, do our best to relax, and know we'll get through it. The main thing is do your best not to succumb to being in the bad mood. And to those of you, some of you are watching, who I've ain't it awfuled with, I can do it as well as anyone. Sometimes it feels like we're just debriefing. But part of it is we're watching the news that is firing us up. We're stuck inside. We're not getting enough exercise and sunshine. And we've been pretty well led to believe it was going to be over quicker than it was. Do your best to wait in a good mood like that vet. All right? So I'm going to everybody check out. Give me your parting thoughts before we go to our complaint-free meditation group. And as you're doing that, I'm going to show you, this is our beautiful background today of our complaint-free meditation group. Check out complaintfreemeditation.com. You can meditate live or on demand anytime with us. And as an extra added bonus today, I'm going to wrestle this butterfly. Obviously, I'm kidding. I have been waiting for about 45 minutes to make that bad joke. Let's see who has a comment for us this morning. Hopefully my connection issue, says Heather. Amen, says Mike. Patience minus love equals moodiness. Very good. Ed Wilmot always has a good, I would call it platitude for us. And I mean that in a good sense, not in a pejorative sense. Yeah. Patience is a sign of maturity. We can all seek to become more mature in this process, or we can let our immaturity reign and be angry and miserable. We can't speed up the conclusion to this chapter in our lives any more than we can push the clock forward or the river forward. The one thing we can control is ourselves. And the most important thing to control is what goes inside your head. And if you want to learn to master that, meditate, meditate, meditate. Come in, check us out for 30 days. Michelle says, I also suck at patience. Need to remember what I'm grateful for. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard because I realized it yesterday. The more I look back and forth between CNN and Fox News, the more I realize is that their job again is to scare us. It's just they're scaring us from different things. Yeah, I try to remember all of the rations, Victory Gardens, and Patriot Bond sales during World War II. Putting on a mask for a little while doesn't seem so bad. I heard that. Muriel says, in your mouth. Yes. Jerome says, as we evolve, patience is a virtue. Yes. I would say, Jerome, patience is a muscle. And I'm going to allow your comments to close us out today. Patience is a muscle. It's always there. It's always there. People who have huge, tight, fit, veiny biceps are the same biceps that are in people who, if you squeeze them, they squeal in the bicep because it's soft and spongy. We all have the muscle. The question is, do we actively choose to develop it? And my call for you today is to actively choose to develop your patience muscle by waiting in a good mood. A great time to cook and eat good foods, says Muriel. Yes, it is. Yes, says Michelle. All right, everybody, complaint-free meditators, we will be live in 6 minutes. The rest of you we will see tomorrow, and I'm going to be talking again about Hamilton. This time I'm going to talk about the Federalist Papers. Oh, my God. Are you serious? Yeah, it's not going to be educating you about the history of the Federalist Papers. I can give you in 8 seconds. It's going to be about if it's up to me, if it's going to be, it's up to me. It's about taking yourself and making yourself the number one dominant ingredient in any recipe that is important to you. Does procrastination qualify as patience? I'll answer that question for Alan really quickly. Does procrastination, only if you're in a good mood, and only if procrastination is, and I would say that's a big question. I may answer that, Alan, in a future Jumpstart, but my initial reaction to that is no. Procrastination is usually driven by fear of the outcome or fear of the activity. Patience is you're basically stuck and you're going to wait in a good mood. All right. Enjoy today, everybody. Love you. See you tomorrow. We will continue our conversation about Hamilton. We have 2 more on those, and then we're going to get into a bunch of other fun stuff I'm already mapping out. Make it a great day. Smile, mask up, commit to waiting in a good mood today for whatever it is you're waiting for. See you later. Bye-bye.